Welcome.
Bienvenidos. Bienvenidos.
He's ready to go on stage.
I'm surprised there was no salsa playing today when we walked in.
I know. You had two Latinas in the room. There's no salsa.
I was busy. I was setting up all this stuff because I
He
had a
went to
busy
the
morning.
gym. Here.
So I woke up this morning at 5:30 to go to the gym, to go to my kickboxing. And then after that, I went to Panera to get some breakfast. And then I went to urgent care because I've been
He
coughing.
had a whole life. I'm like, where is he? Because he's supposed to drive them to school. I'm like, where is he? I'm like, I thought he went to urgent care and he was going to come back.
You say you play RPGs, right?
Yeah.
I went on about 5 side quests this morning. So I went to the urgent care, and then I went to the pharmacy, and then I came here to heat up the studio, and then I went to unpack my Amazon packages, and then start my meeting.
What did you order from Amazon?
What do you like to know? So actually,
unnecessary stuff.
no,
again.
we need this. So
Not really.
Yes, we do. We
My
need
God.
this. So I don't know if you guys know this, but this year we started doing trade shows as part of our marketing strategy.
Mhm.
In the years past, I never really did it because we got our leads other ways, right?
But you're doing trade shows from the venue, right? Or no?
No, these are trade shows.
Trade show companies,
trade
but
show companies.
Okay.
mainly for Pro Paper Studio.
Yeah, it's not for myself.
Okay.
Because, and I talked about this on my live yesterday. You know, sometimes when you're running a business, sometimes you got to do stuff that you don't want to do if you want to
Get as
stay
many
relevant and
leads.
stay whatever. Because the thing is, a lot of people, they continue doing the same thing over and over again, year in and year out. They don't evolve, they don't change. And then when the shit hits the fan, or maybe they see themselves dying slowly, right? Dying off slowly, they don't make any changes.
Mm-hmm.
And they're thinking that, all right, next month's going to be better. Next year is going to be better, right? But the thing is, as soon as I see a little downturn, a little dip, I'm putting my ass into action,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm doing things, right? The thing is, with me, trade shows have always produced for me. It's just not my best producer, but they have always produced for me. And I was like, you know what? We're a little slow right now. We're not like in really big trouble, but it's a little downturn. And I think that's across the board. Everyone's experienced a little bit of a downturn. So I was like, we'll do a couple of trade shows. Now that I'm doing trade shows more and more, I'm learning what I need to do more of to make it more effective and more efficient for us.
Spend more money, buy more gears,
Yeah.
No,
more Amazon packages at home.
but in any case, what I got was I'll tell you guys, and I talked about this last night on my live.
You got the iPad thing?
Yeah. So
I already know.
Yes.
Sorry, spoil it.
yeah.
Spoiler.
So I had these little screens
For the email registrations.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the email registrations or the contact form. So what I previously had was a QR code that they would scan and then they would fill out their info. But the thing was that included an extra step that they didn't need to go through. If I can get them to register right there on the spot, I can take care of that conversion right then and there.
Mhm.
Because the thing is, if I'm waiting for them to, scan
Reach
the QR
out,
code
yep.
and then they're going to go into their car, they might forget, they might,
Yeah.
whatever. There's too much that could happen between meeting us at the table and them actually giving us their info.
Yep.
So we want them to give up their info at the table. So what I got was an iPad stand, like what you see at
Like a
kiosk.
bolted down.
Yeah.
Well, we're not
We
bolting
had
it down
one.
to anything, right? But it's a
We
it's
have
an
it on the
iPad.
table.
Yeah, it's on the table. It's an iPad stand. So
But
basically,
isn't it like metal?
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yours is metal?
Because what we would do is just take the iPad home. So we would just put it on the easel and then take it back.
Right. It's like a case.
Well, you can get a case, so you don't have to.
No, we got a basic
Yeah.
flippy thing.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
no, I didn't get a basic.
He's got a
I got a
the
case.
box is like heavy. I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
It's like a bolting
Well,
down like metal. I'm like, who's gonna
Ben has trust issues.
I'm like
So in any case, I got one just to see if it was okay. Because I'm going to have 2 of these. So I needed to buy one to make sure it's okay. The second one's probably coming later.
You
this
want to hear a good pro tip?
pro
You kn-
tip.
Yeah, you know how like people will just register,
Mhm.
but if it's someone that you spoke to, in order to keep your memory fresh, after they fill it out, you go fill it
This
out
is
too,
the person.
and put like whatever PPS email, so that when you look at the email list, the email above it
That
was a
person
hot
is
lead. You understand what I'm saying?
Well, if they inquire, it's a hot lead automatically.
But
Or if you have like a better
Yeah.
connection with them.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So you can send them like a more
like
personal
the
email.
follow-up email.
Mm.
So like when we did trade shows, if I had like a 10-minute conversation with somebody and like an amazing venue, we really clicked. I didn't want to forget who they were. I knew they were a hotter lead. So they didn't get my email funnel. They got a personal email from me.
Mm.
So it was more of and I would send it that night. So it wasn't like
Right,
You know
right,
what
right.
they
really-
would be with the flood of everybody else's
You know what?
emails.
That gives me a great idea. So what I might do in the future is after they fill out that form, I will get the email. What I'll do is maybe I'll send them a video response later that night or something.
Yeah, do
That'd be
something
right.
more
Something
personal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Good idea.
the ones that you just connect with, but like when you start collecting emails, the trade show could get really,
Yeah.
when you used to do get busy,
Yep.
we get like 15, 20 emails in like 2 hours. So like
Mhm.
those
Mhm.
emails get lost. So in order to stay fresh, you just write down, like what we would do is just
Mhm.
enter our email right
We
after.
sound like-
But you know what?
Was
What I
it?
love.
I
What?
said we sound like a lot of people, but I appreciate it.
Listen, I just do all the talking at these expos.
But what I really loved about the trade show that we do, they're usually smaller, like 40, 50 couples, not like the big blowouts, like the 1,000
Mhm.
people. Because that way I can get more face time with the people coming to my
Yeah,
booth.
that's
Yeah.
what counts. Like the ones, all the shows that we did, all the couples that booked us are the ones that I had personal conversations with.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that
Yeah,
always
yep,
booked.
yep.
Like the ones that just put their email down and want the free engagement session or whatever. It's very, very hard to convert those.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So anyway, that's what I've been up to the last week since we last recorded. I just booked one of those couples from the trade show, so I got my money back.
Yeah.
I always get my money back on those things. So I got 4 more appointments. So I will probably convert half of those. So I definitely got my money back. Yeah. What have you guys been up to? We had dinner. Didn't we have a really fancy dinner?
Oh,
Birthday
yes.
dinner at
Rose birthday
Strickland's
dinner.
in Woodbridge.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Amazing. Yep.
Yeah, we didn't get the most expensive steak, but we got the second most expensive steak.
expensive
You know
platter.
what? It was a good call on your part to not get it.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot of food.
Yeah.
It would have been
A
lot
lot
of
of
food.
food. Yep.
Yeah, that guy was trying to sell us, like basically IPS us a steak.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Yes.
like sell us more steak than we actually needed.
All
you
these
know?
different platters and options and
Yeah.
sizes and oh my god! But the appetizers are
But
so
let's
good.
talk about that later today
the
because
food.
I thought that this would be a great conversation topic for why we spend what we spent on that dinner. I mean, we could have taken him out to a gas station, gotten him a couple of taquitos, and
we could have
called
went
it
to
a day.
KFC. I would have been okay with a
Chuck E. Cheese.
spicy crispy chicken.
You know? But
No.
we decided to go to this Strickland's. Shout out to Strickland's for a wonderful steak dinner. But there's a reason why we spent all that money to go there. You know, it might be a good conversation to have later on today
Mhm.
about why clients pay for more for stuff. Why do we pay more for stuff when a cheaper option was available? What do you guys think?
Yeah. Do it.
Do it. All right. Anyway, that was kind of a lame-o intro.
Mhm.
Cold open.
It was
We did
very
our
serious.
best.
It was very serious talk. Nothing funny happened to you guys last week?
No, we've been home.
No adventures on the road? Eating
Rose
fat-
had plenty of adventures in his video games. Plenty of adventures.
Yeah.
He has
I-
villages.
I have
he
not-
has.
Villages.
I
He
have not
has an
been-
army of 1 point something million.
I have
he
not
has,
been productive.
he
the
has-
last- once I delivered that last wedding,
That was it.
my productivity just went.
I
all the way
still
down.
have so much work to do.
Yeah.
I feel guilty. I'm gonna admit I feel guilty because
Like,
I don't have anything to do. But
That's
there
good.
are a couple of things that I need to catch up on. I have to edit our personal photos. They're just sitting on hard drives.
Yes,
So
yes.
Jen is pushing me to do
Get those
that.
done.
I have to
Yeah.
update our website. So you know what? I went on our website yesterday, and I'm pretty happy with the message that we're still putting out.
Mm.
Just got to tweak it, which
Yeah.
is not going to be too time consuming. It usually takes me like a whole week
Mhm.
to curate images, put them up, see how it flows. Because a lot of times my best images are not on my website. Like,
Yeah,
it's just what fits our style
Yeah.
and the target that we want to attract.
Mhm.
So that's the hard part. As a
Mhm.
photographer, you get attached to these these hero shots, but they're not on your website sometimes because it just doesn't fit your brand.
Mm, mm,
Right.
mm.
So I was looking at our website. I'm pretty happy with it. It's just got to make minor tweaks and
Yeah. My website needs a refresh. Karis needs to refresh as well. But we'll work on it this winter when we have some time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for our website, I actually just hired ID Action Consulting for
Jen has a mentor.
that
now.
and
is,
the
uh,
mastermind. The same people that Mike Z uses.
Yeah.
So I'm joining their mastermind this month. So they're going to do like a whole audit of everything. So I'm excited about that. So I'm sure you might be happy with it, but we'll see what they say.
So then I should wait then.
Then-
I should
And
wait.
now he's
until,
like,
right?
more
Yeah,
time
don't
for
touch
video
it. Yeah,
games.
don't-
Yeah.
And, yeah.
Speaking of like, other tweaks that we do in our off season, right? I saw a snippet of your bank statements last night, and
Yes, this is a funny story. Wait, I know we have to segue into our guest at some point, but let's talk about your tax practices and how long it takes you to do your taxes.
about a week. It takes me about a week.
Ben still puts on that old visor, and he's there with a cigar, and
Calculator
he's looking at all his receipts and just adding everything up.
Manual everything,
It
Ben.
takes me a whole week to write. And the most of the time, is spent reconciling the numbers to make sure that the numbers on my spreadsheet matches the one on the statement.
That's why I have a CRM.
Yeah, go ahead. You tell the
But
story.
you do it like once a year. You should do it every month, so you're not sitting for a week at the end of the year.
Well, I considered doing that, but I did it 1 year. But I was like, you know what? I might as well just do it at the end of the year. It's fine. But,
a whole 2 weeks later, he finishes his taxes.
1 week. It took me 1 week. But yeah, I discovered the joys and the benefits of downloading CSV files instead of the actual statements themselves. So that way I can just transcribe them. I don't even have to transcribe anything. I just copy and paste and put those numbers into an actual spreadsheet. So I don't actually have to do any math. I actually don't need to touch a calculator. The spreadsheet can do all
I don't
the
know
work.
anything. I don't know anything what you're talking about. So.
Anyway,
Just get it done.
moving forward, it'll be a lot easier.
How much gear can I buy?
We're both
That's what I wanna
clueless.
know.
Just give me how much money I have.
We have nothing. We have nothing.
Ben's like, lost.
All right.
We're bankrupt.
We're bankrupt. We got no money. Yeah. My account's gonna kill me. Anyway, you guys ready to start this podcast?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All
Yes.
right. All right, guys. Welcome to the Focus Day podcast. My name is Ben,
I am Karis.
This is Jen.
And this is Ro.
and we are not Focus AF today.
No.
Yeah, we are
Never.
not. All right. So, are we done talking about my taxes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're done. We've heard about it for all week. The whole week that you've been doing them.
Me too.
But now that my taxes are done, my clients can get their photos again.
Mhm.
I can start working on their photos. Yeah, it's been a rough week. But I didn't turn out too bad. You guys haven't done your numbers yet, right?
No, they're due February 15th, so I'll do
Shit.
it before then.
You guys don't do it like April 14th, right?
No. I have to submit it to my accountant by the 15th of February.
Mm.
Yeah.
We only do it fast because of our associates.
and also because I'm OCD. Normally my stuff is done by January 2nd, but I had a summit to take care of this year.
This was
And you were
late
also
for him.
Yeah, I was also sick. I'm still
Yeah.
sick. Ben Lau didn't do too bad last year. PPS did okay. It's just the way that my bank account works, the way that my checking account works. We had to move some things around.
I thought we were introducing the guest. I think we're done with your taxes.
Yeah.
Stop talking about it. Let's go.
Car's like, don't spill all the secrets.
All right. So anyway,
don't need the IRS
Shut your
knocking on the door.
so about our guest today.
Like, where is he going with this?
So about our guest today. I've actually never met her in
Yeah.
person. She's been on my
Oh, get
radar
out of here.
for a number of years. I don't know how she ended up on my friends list, but somehow she
Were
just.
you not in Vegas when she went
No.
to Vegas?
She probably was, but I never.
Yeah.
I never. First time I met her was at the summit.
Me too.
Oh, shit.
Yep.
No, they were there. They were just not there.
Yeah.
Remember, they would be like,
That's Ben's
like
fault.
almost missing each other. There was one time we were having breakfast or lunch in that little cafe,
mhm.
Yeah,
and then I don't know if you left right after to go to class, then you guys showed up like shortly after.
yeah.
There was one year when we went to WPPI and we didn't really attend WPPI.
That
We were
was
just-
like-
That's
that was
that,
a
that
win.
might have been the year she was there.
Yeah.
yeah, we go but not go. But
Yeah.
now we go to go. So
That's your fault.
yeah, this year might be a little different too because we're going out for a couple of shoots ourselves.
You are.
We're gonna be in those pictures too.
Just one.
Just one
The
shoot.
other one, you're going.
Yeah,
You're
well,
shooting.
We'll figure it out. Anyway, yeah, she's been on my radar for a number of years, but I finally got to meet her at the summit, but I only got to talk to her for like 10 seconds, all of 10 seconds.
Yeah, I know. We didn't get to talk long either.
Yeah, we could hang out.
Just
So,
because it was jam packed
So-
with speakers.
so how do you guys know our guest?
I don't remember how.
Better together, right? Yeah,
Oh.
better together.
Yeah.
Um,
But I can't, like, as with
can't remember
everybody else, I
how
can't remember when we
like
first
got
met.
close though. Like,
Yeah.
I think the fact that we're Latino helped as well. There's not many Latinos that are really close in that group. I mean, the ones that the Latinos in that group all know each other because
Mhm.
we're a small group.
Yeah.
You're friends with Moses too, and
Moses is
that
getting a shout out
circle.
every fucking
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah, like Gricel has second shot for Moses, and he's also second shot for you as well, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that's how we all like come
I
full
don't think
circle.
we introduced her yet.
Yeah, we haven't
We
introduced.
should, we should
yeah.
introduce her.
So without further ado, guys, let's introduce you guys to our guest of today's episode, Gricel Rivera.
Hi.
Hey,
All right.
Gricel.
Hello.
You made it.
Welcome.
Bienvenidos.
So yeah, I can't remember the first time we met.
So it's funny that you say
I
that
don't-
because I can't remember. I'm trying to think back, and when you mentioned Moses, I'm like, yes. So Better Together.
Mm-hmm.
Moses was kind of like I first met him through Better Together, and then you guys came along as well, and were friends with him. And I think he kind of like joined us together.
Yeah.
Look at Moses.
He's always been the bridge to a lot of relationships.
Because I met Moses before I met you guys.
And he's like the
Right.
quietest person.
Yeah.
Like the most like
Quiet?
reserved, not like, you know, he's like the most reserved person. He's not like very extroverted,
Yes,
like if you
yes.
see him out there.
Yeah.
So to be the bridge for a lot of
Yeah.
people,
Mm-hmm.
that's funny.
He was the bridge for us too.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Oh, was he? But he wasn't there at
No,
that
he wasn't
meetup.
there. Probably.
No, but he was shooting for you
Mhm.
Yep.
that year. And then you invited him to the holiday party.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then that's when we all like connected, like through him.
Yep.
You were like, oh, you know Jen and Ro, yeah,
Yep,
those are my
yeah.
friends. And then we somehow we hung out after that.
Yep.
But he was the bridge there too.
He's like,
Yep.
you know, he's the kid back in high school who probably sat at every lunch table, just did his little rounds around the cafeteria. You know, just friends with everyone knows Moses Cruz. You know,
Mhm.
yeah.
He's a little popular around here.
Shout out Moses.
So, Gricel, give us your background. Tell us everything, how you got into photography, where your journey has taken you, all the good stuff.
Oh, wow. So I can't really remember the year that I started photography because I actually picked it up in college.
Mm-hmm.
So I was studying engineering. I graduated with engineering in 2010. And then further on, I went on to do it as a hobby, as most people do.
What, engineering?
Photography.
Photography.
Engineering as a hobby.
I have a degree. Never used it.
Listen, playing Legos does not count as engineering as a hobby. All right, so you did started as a hobby in 2010. Okay, go on.
Yeah, and then I graduated with engineering, and I started working full time as an engineer
What type of
and
engineer?
mechanical engineer.
Shout out mechanical engineer.
Yes. And so then further on, I continued pursuing photography as a hobby for many years, all while working full time. Eventually, I found my niche in wedding photography. I was working with another photographer who kind of took me under his wing to second shoot for him. And that was the best experience that I had as a photographer, is to sit back and learn and kind of like have someone leading you. And eventually, I found my own voice in wedding photography, and clients started coming.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the clients were college friends that were getting married, or even their cousins or somebody related to them that I knew from college. So that's how the clientele started. And then eventually my husband joined me into doing wedding photography as well. And for many years we did that. Up until 2018, I was doing it both as a side gig, a side hustle, and a full-time, I would call it, because I was working full-time, but I was also running and managing the business full-time. So I was kind of trying to balance both. 2018, I quit my job as an engineer and then pursued photography full-time. I was already a mom by then. And in 2019, I was going to have my second child and decided to switch things up. Decided to leave wedding photography a little bit. I wanted to be home on the weekends with my kids. I wanted to spend more time with them instead of giving up all of my weekends and fully relying on weddings. And so 2019, I decided to take a workshop and learn what studio lighting is all about. A little bit different than weddings.
Mm-hmm.
I will say that much. But it was a great experience, and I actually found a passion for it. I thought that weddings was my end all be all, and like the wedding day and telling that story was the most important thing for me. But doing portraits and doing studio work has really like ignited something else in me creatively. And so that's kind of where the journey has taken me.
I have two questions.
Yes.
So, when you left your job, what did your parents think? And second was, what did you charge for your first wedding?
So the first question, I told my parents in 2018, I'm leaving my job. And it was March 2018 that I left my job. So January, I kind of had an idea. I was already doing that. It was very hard going to, I worked about an hour away. So
Oh
my
my
commute was
gosh.
about an
Oh,
hour.
man.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
So, and we worked 9-hour days. So that was always challenging
11
going
hours a day.
home. I was already a mom, like I said. So come home, cook dinner,
Oh my
you
gosh.
know, do all of that. Then at nighttime when the
Edit.
kids are, edit,
Yep.
God.
Oh, boy.
manage inquiries,
Mhm.
find some time to do a wedding consultation at some point. And so it was just too much to handle. And I told my parents, hey, I'm going to quit my job. And they were like, are you crazy?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what I asked.
Yeah.
Because,
That's what I
you know,
wanted to
the
hear.
biggest dream is for your, especially in a immigrant household,
Mhm.
is for your kid to make it because
Uh-huh.
you
Right.
couldn't make it,
Mhm.
Right.
because you sacrificed so much.
Mhm.
So, me saying, hey, I went to college, but I'm not going to pursue it.
I don't need it anymore.
I don't need it anymore. That was like
Mm.
the biggest
Yes.
issue that my mom had. She's like, what if you fail? I'm like, but what
Yes.
if I don't?
Don't. Mm-hmm.
And she just couldn't understand the fact of leaving something that was so secure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so she had an issue with it for a while. And she was very like, I'm here for you if you need anything. But at the same time, I had my husband's support.
Uh-huh.
My husband was kind of like the biggest push for me to quit my job.
Mm-hmm.
He saw my struggle. He saw where I was lacking sleep. I wasn't being very productive, and there was a disconnect there.
Yes.
So, you know, we of course made sure that our finances were in check first,
Mm-hmm.
and then he was like, we can handle this. You're getting enough inquiries, you're getting enough weddings. You
Yeah.
already know what your year looks like already. He's like, let's just do it.
Yeah. And I always say the worst that happens is you go back.
Go back.
Yeah.
What's the big
Your
deal?
degree's not
You have a
going
degree,
anywhere.
yeah,
yeah.
You're not- that's the
Yeah.
good
I could never
fallback.
go back to the chicken factory. So.
Your family disowned you. No.
It comes to a point where you can't take care of anything else until you take care of yourself.
Yep.
Right.
And
And oh
doing
my gosh,
that-
as a mom, I can't even imagine having full-time job and coming back to it, and you got a mom duty and
Yeah.
another job.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It was a lot of sacrifice.
I-
a lot of
I don't even
sacrifice
know
on
how to
sleep
handle
too.
that, yeah.
Yes,
Mhm.
of course.
It-
oh my goodness.
It was one day I recorded myself back when, like, I think, I don't know what was still active. I think what is it? Snapchat.
Snapchat. Oh, yeah.
Back with the Snapchat.
Oh, my God. Is that
I
even still
It
around?
was like a day in the life.
Yeah.
I was
It's
like, let me
still
just show
big.
people a day in the life
Yeah.
of a wedding photographer / full-time engineer / mom.
Oh my goodness.
And I was like, I look back at that video and just like, how the heck am I doing
Yeah.
this?
It probably gives you anxiety looking at it.
Yeah, because it was like, wake up at 5:30. You know, get the bags ready, get everything ready, go wake up my son to take
Oh
him to
my
daycare,
goodness.
to then travel an hour, go to the office, do whatever I did for work, and then come home, pick him up, go make dinner, and then go edit, go answer,
Oh.
whatever, till
Do
1 or 2 in the morning, and
Yeah.
then waking up, rinse and
Oh
repeat.
my goodness.
4 hours later.
Yeah, so it was just like, this is exhausting.
No, no, yeah. you
So,
can't do
I mean, I'm very grateful that I was able to grow it to that point.
Mm-hmm. But it shows the drive and the passion into it too.
Yes.
Because I feel like when people have all those challenges, they give up right away. There was something still drawing you to that.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, I'm only getting 4 hours of sleep, but it's for a reason. It led you to the place that you're at now.
Yeah, and I never made it an excuse either. You know, all the obstacles that I had while managing both the business and my career, I didn't use that as an obstacle. A lot of people want to feel sorry for themselves, like when they have certain challenges. And so I never wanted to give my clients less than, no matter what I was going through. And so I think that's what also helped with the success of it, because, you know, they kind of question themselves, like, how is she doing it?
Yeah.
I still have some of my brides from then that are friends of mine to this day, and they're now pursuing their own small business ventures, and they're like, I don't know how you did it back then. And so what the key thing is that if you want something to work, you have to work and you have to sacrifice. And like I just said, it can't be an excuse. You can't use it as a crutch. Like, oh, I have little ones, or I don't have time. Like, you make time. You just make time.
A lot of people say
Did
that.
you guys watch my live last night? I think you did, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hear my story about the chicken and the pig?
You started it, and then you lost me, and then I forgot what I was doing. Oh, I know what I was doing. I was replying to the comments in the thread about trade shows.
Right.
And then I was like,
You
pig,
lost.
cow. I don't know what he's talking
So,
about.
all right. So this is all right. So about 20-some years ago, I was in financial.
What, you're going to tell the story now?
Yeah. To complement what she
Are you going to
said.
say it shorter?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty short. It's going to be short. It wasn't. I didn't spend that
I'm
much
just
time last night
teasing. I'm just
anyway.
teasing.
So, my sales manager was sharing the story during the company dinner, and it was the story of the chicken and the pig. And basically, it's a story of a chicken and a pig. They're walking down the street or walking down the road, and they're like, you know what? The chicken goes to the pig. You know what? Let's open a restaurant. We're gonna serve ham and eggs, right? And the pig was like, are you fucking out of your mind? Like, we're not serving ham and eggs. Because the thing is, to make this restaurant a success, you would only be involved. I would have to be committed,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the reason why I was sharing this story last night was because, when we're running a business, oftentimes folks are, the ones who are struggling at least, right? They're only involved like the chicken, right? They do things because it's something that they would do anyway. It isn't really necessarily an inconvenience to them. And, they're just going through the motions, right? But on the other hand, you have the pig. In order to make this thing work, they have to be super committed. And if they had a choice,
He has to give himself.
yeah. I mean, like, if they had a choice, they probably wouldn't want to do it, right? But the thing is, they have to do it anyway because they want this thing to work, right?
Right.
So that's the difference between being involved and being committed. Now, this is not to say that, everyone has to. I mean, this is at least the way that I view a good work ethic and how it contributes to your success. But the thing is, I do think that in order for entrepreneurs and business owners to be successful, you do have to be committed. I know some people are against all that, what they call like hustle porn. Like, yeah, you got to go out there and kick ass and work your ass off, and that's how you're going to make it, right? And some people are kind of against that mindset. But the thing is, I'm like 90% for it. You still have to create boundaries to make sure that you're not you killing yourself for your business. But at the same time, if you want your business to succeed, sometimes it means you have to step outside of your comfort zone and do stuff that you normally wouldn't do to make the thing work. Did I lose you now, Jen?
I feel like boundaries come after.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
You have to earn your work-life balance.
Yes.
When you start your business,
Do whatever it takes.
you do whatever it takes. So if that means you got to work 80 hours a week, then that's what you got to do. But the thing is, the long-term goal here is that you're not doing this forever.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're only going to suffer for a little bit. Everyone's got to eat that same shit sandwich for a little bit. And then, if you play your cards right, put in the time, you put in the work, there should be a light at the end of that tunnel.
Right.
Do you agree? Disagree?
Agree.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone I know that has made it in his business are not slackers.
So it sounds like Gricel's really, she's cut from that same cloth as well. So, and also I missed the conversation about how much you made for your first wedding.
Oh, she didn't answer that yet.
I didn't get to it.
Let's hear it.
So for my first wedding, I made $1,000.
Whoa!
You're up there with Tori.
You know, I said that
Yeah.
with Tori.
So, but I included everything. So
Oh, girl, what
did
was
I
in there?
profit $1,000?
What was in there?
Yo, you could,
Wait till you hear
What
what
was
was
in there?
included
Oh,
in
no.
for $1,000, you could have gotten like almost 20 Moses Cruises. That's our measurement, our unit of measurement. How many Moses
We
Cruises
should
can
make
you
a
get?
chart with our heads.
How many Moses Cruises can you get with $1,000?
So what was in it?
So I had like 100 4x6 prints, which I don't even know
That's
how
not too
you
bad.
can.
Where'd you get them?
That's like 50 bucks.
Costco or?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Walgreens or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
not too
know.
bad. That's not too
40
bad.
bucks, 50 bucks.
Yeah,
No.
and so then I
Less, because it's only 10, 15 cents a print.
Mm-hmm.
So 100 will only be about 15 bucks.
8x10 album,
8
and
by 10. How many pages?
It was all the pictures. I don't know.
Whatever they
It
wanted.
was whatever they wanted on the album. It was
Unlimited.
kind of unlimited.
Oh my
I don't
God.
even. I think it was like something like 40 pages. Like
Yeah.
it was
Oh
something
my
like.
God.
I did not make money on this wedding. I'm telling you. And a canvas print.
Oh my
And it
God.
was a 16 by 24 canvas.
That's a big
print.
one too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Did it
one's
have an
about-
engagement session in there too?
It's also 70, 80 bucks.
They did not have an engagement session.
Okay.
It was just the wedding.
Okay.
So just cost of goods sold, you're looking
Probably like half.
Yep.
Half
Yeah.
Half
that.
or more. Yep.
Yeah.
How long was the wedding
Did
day?
you ship this stuff too?
No, they picked it up.
Okay.
Okay, at least you save on shipping.
Yeah. I saved that shit.
Um,
And it was an 8-hour day.
Okay.
I had a second shooter that I paid.
Oh, that too.
Oh, crap.
Yeah,
How much you paid,
I
30 an
paid
hour?
150 or 125.
Okay.
Right, so now you're 650
$10,000
in the
an hour?
home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
$10 an hour for a second shooter?
Yeah, listen.
Where'd you find the second shooter?
Juan wants his
Where'd you find
contact info.
the second shooter? At Home Depot?
PPS is hiring.
Listen, man. It was a friend who was just starting out in photography too.
They wanna
Yeah.
back
So I'm
up.
like, hey, can you come with me? She was like, yeah. I'm like, I got you. I'm gonna
More
pay
like
you.
you got her. Okay.
I'm like, I got you.
Well, back then, $160. Like, and for me starting
yeah.
out, I'll take it.
Is it
Yeah.
Yeah.
160?
So-
That's 20 an hour, I guess.
No, 150.
Oh,
150.
150,
150.
150 for 8 hours, you said?
Yeah.
It still works out. Roughly. We'll
Yeah,
run it.
it's
We'll
pretty
be check.
good.
Yeah.
And you get experience? Come on.
Yeah.
Hey, you
20
get
And she
paid.
didn't have
plus
to
a
edit.
meal.
She didn't have to edit it either. So
Yeah.
it was like,
That sounds like a bargain to me when I'm starting out.
20 an hour plus a meal, maybe a tip.
oh, and they got their photos on a CD.
Oh, I love
The
the
CD.
CD. CD
The
days
CD.
were
And you
great.
print it on the CD.
I
the
love
picture.
I
We used to do
love
that. We used to
those.
do
Love
that.
it.
Oh my god! And you know how we have a little bit of a bottleneck when we have to produce images for the podcast episodes, right?
Yeah.
So I couldn't deliver until she made a design for the DVD. So like I would have images ready to be delivered, and I wait 2 more weeks just because she couldn't get around
whatever.
to printing the DVDs.
I love designing the covers and then
Yeah.
printing them on my
That
printer.
was the best. You have the couple there with their names.
I
I
still-
thought it
you
was
know-
the coolest thing.
But you know what? And I bought them in bulk at Costco, so I still have like over 200 DVDs that I haven't used yet because I buy
Oh
everything
my
in bulk,
gosh.
right? So I have DVDs.
Well,
that-
I still have, I think,
the covers.
I still have
the
because
cases,
I would make
yeah.
one
the
copy for
cases.
them and one copy for me as a backup.
Yeah.
That was
Oh.
my backup. So I made printed ones for myself.
Look at you. I never thought about backup. Back then I was
wasn't in
just
the
like,
budget.
it is what it is.
I have, you know what? All my backups pre 2014, I want to say, they're all on DVDs.
Yeah.
And I have them in like little paper sleeves and stuff. I still have them.
That's what
Uh,
she's talking
Recently, I've transferred all of them to
Yeah, I was
digital
gonna say
format.
because after a while they start to flake.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you
And
don't
they
store them right.
stop reading, right? They
Yeah.
stop reading. So I was
Oh.
like, I got to put this somewhere else.
about. Yeah.
And
Well,
that's what I did.
Well, I think I do have some on digital too, but I
Oh.
also like making a printed version
Yeah.
for
But you
myself.
still have leftover cases and DVDs?
No. Maybe some old stuff from like the early 2000s of like
Empty
mixtapes I used to make and like oh.
Ooh.
Start handing out mixtapes.
Yeah,
Bring it
but
back.
I mean, that's really refreshing to hear that.
What you should do with the ones you have left over, you should sell your Meta Ads course on the conference. You show up at the conference,
Oh my God. What would we
Some
do?
DVDs.
What would we do?
$99.
But it's really refreshing to hear that our journey is not necessarily super unique. We all came up in a very similar way.
Yeah.
What? Why is
So
that
So
funny?
you left in you transitioned back in 2019, or you took a step back in 2019.
From weddings.
Yeah, tell us what that process was like.
So I was pregnant. I already had the mindset that I was starting to not resent weddings because that's not what it was. It was just that I was starting to miss out on opportunities to be with my kid or put my kid in, Saturday activities or, just those weekend activities that he couldn't experience because both my husband and I were actually shooting. So we were both shooting and we were gone. And I just didn't want to miss out on that anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I pitched the idea of like, hey, why don't I like learn about studio lighting? And I went into the city and I took a workshop. At first, I was very like naive to think that it wasn't going to be maternity because I did not want to shoot maternity at first. I wanted to do bridal studio work or like couples studio work, but there wasn't really like a
Market for-
demand for that,
Yeah.
or no one was really like calling for that. They wanted to go outside. They wanted to go to Princeton. They wanted to go
Mhm.
to the beach. That's where they wanted to go. So nobody wanted to come inside the studio to shoot with me. Eventually, I just started shooting maternity as like, hey, like I can make some really nice stuff if you just come into my studio. And I offered my first maternity session for like $500.
Nice.
And it was like, you get 20 images for $500 and come in and I have like 2 gowns that you can use. bring your own clothes.
BYOC.
Yeah. And eventually I started seeing this as like, oh, I can make this into something bigger. And I couldn't get my weekends back with my kids. And so I started planning offering more and more maternity sessions. Like I had that one person say yes. And I was like, okay, I need to learn how to do this different or this different. And then I kept like advertising it on my Instagram, on my Facebook, to friends, like, hey, if you want, like, I know you're pregnant, come, or even past clients actually. Now they're getting pregnant and they saw that I'm offering studio maternity and they would call me or come in again. And so I started off in like this 500 square foot studio.
Did you get the studio before you like really launched that side?
Yes, I did, because I was meeting clients there for wedding consultations.
Oh, right. Yeah,
So
I
I
remember.
had like an office space that I just converted into like a shooting space, but it was big enough to actually fit like a backdrop and some lighting and stuff. And so eventually COVID happened, and it was like a blessing in disguise in a sense where weddings weren't happening, but I had already planned for maternity leave. My son was born in March 2020. So I had already planned for a leave.
Oh my God, right
Bigger.
at lockdown.
Yeah, literally. He was born, and a few days later, the whole world shut down.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, well, I have a little money saved. Like, it was already in the plans to not shoot, but I was going to shoot in like May, June already, weddings again. And those weddings weren't happening. And so I just pivoted. Like, I was like, all right, well, let's go full on maternity. And everyone was getting pregnant during COVID.
Everybody was at home bored.
Everyone was getting pregnant. So I'm just like, yes, this is my chance to grow and continue to expand the portfolio.
Wow, yeah.
And so that's when my pricing structure changed, because once I figured like, all right, I'm getting more clientele, more inquiries, and people were booking very easily. That's when I knew that I need to change my structure. And that's when I moved into like more of an IPS route. I wanted to kind of like make the same amount as I would for a wedding at home in the studio. That was my biggest goal. And so it started off with one or two, kind of seeing like where the pricing, where I can hit. You know, just like in weddings, I feel like you get your pricing and your packages right. And once you see that people are booking it very easily, that's when you know it's time to grow.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where it's just been growing eventually. People are seeing more of the work, they're seeing more of the art, and they like it and they want to come in for it. So the demand is up, the price goes up, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I transitioned into more studio work. And it's benefited me because I made my own hours. I don't shoot on the weekends. If anything, I offer one weekend date and I shoot during the day. So while my kids are in school,
That's awesome.
my husband's at work, I'll shoot, and then I'm home by dinner time.
Nice.
And so, that was my biggest goal, is to making a work-life balance that, was going to work for my family. And so, yeah.
Do you find that a lot of these maternity, and because I think you do families as well, right?
Yes.
Were these return clients from past wedding couples?
Yes. Some of them were new. I get a good mix, but I've had clients that I've shot their engagement session and I just shot their family photos like not so long ago. So these people have grown with me and they've adjusted to my pricing as well. And I think that because we had that connection beforehand, that helps a lot too.
Yeah.
Having that connection.
Are you doing any weddings right now?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So how many weddings are you doing a year now?
So I'm doing less than 10. Last year I believe I did 10 last year, and this year I'm doing 8.
You want to stick with that number? You're trying to wean off of that.
I'm happy with that number. I think that I like getting what I say is like my wedding fix.
Yeah, yeah.
I like making sure
That's
that
a sweet number.
Yeah, it's great. I probably like shoot one a month, if anything.
Yes.
Not including like the off seasons and stuff like that. But it's a nice mix where I'm still connecting with brides. I'm still having that, because I love weddings. That don't get me wrong. I just schedule wise, it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
But I love the magic of the day. I love the story that you can tell. It's totally different than what you do in the studio.
Yeah.
In the studio, it's more of like the client comes in and trusts your vision, and we brainstorm together. We come up with the different concepts, but it's very structured. Like a wedding, it could be a different venue, it could be a different day, it could
Yeah.
be sunny, it could be cloudy, it could be like there's so many elements that tell your wedding day that it's not.
So
There's two different worlds.
It's a bit more forgiving too.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you do studio work, the posing
Yeah,
has to be like perfect.
yeah,
You know, with a wedding, with the chaos of the day, you tend to like compromise a little bit on those things. Like there's
Right.
no time to be perfecting the poses. In the studio, the subject is the focal point. So everything, if you do something that doesn't look right, it's gonna stand out 10 times more.
yeah. That's true. That's true. And there's a little bit of more of a process in how you develop the photos too, versus like in studio versus a wedding. A wedding, you're kind of like you're saying, it's a little bit more forgiving. The focal point is the couple, but there's also so many elements around them. Studio is just them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty much how studio editing works too. Like where you have to be a little bit more meticulous on how you're posing them, how the lighting is hitting them. It can give them raccoon eyes, like you said, like you guys know, or it can be very dreamy too. So yeah.
And you in this time you got to upgrade your studio too, right?
Yes, in 2020, I also upgraded my studio space. So I was in Bloomfield before, and now I'm in Nutley, and the space is a lot bigger. It can fit all the lighting that I want. I was really pressed for space by the time I was like adding props and gowns and everything to my previous space, that the shooting space was just very limited. This time, I'm able to just kind of like free it up and do an actual setup that I'm happy with.
Now they don't have to bring their own clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they don't have to bring their own clothes. I've added to the wardrobe. Yes.
Do you have like a
That's
wardrobe
amazing.
every size, every color, every shape, everything?
Yeah, so I have, I can't even count how many gowns I have in my studio now.
You have wings? You have wings?
Yes, I do.
Ah.
Bro, you can
Oh, you
come
wanna
in.
buy the wings? I was thinking the same thing. You want-
You don't want to go wear the wings.
We gotta put wings on you. You keep it a chicken factory.
I have blush and ivory wings. If you want. Yes, but no, the wardrobe is included. I include. It's a whole experience, right? You want to give
Right.
them.
Are you doing
Right.
hair and makeup too?
Yeah. So I want to give them the experience where they feel glamorous. They feel like really beautiful.
right.
Beautiful,
Yep.
right?
What's the after session process?
So after the session, I usually tell my clients, you're spending the day with me and you're going to get dolled up. We're going to do the shoot and then we're going to reveal the photos that same day. A lot of other photographers choose to do it on another day, but I'd rather just get them right when the emotions are happy.
Yes.
And yes, all excited. So they're seeing their images that day. As I tell my clients, is like, you've seen my portfolio, you've seen my Instagram, you know how my editing works. So they're seeing the raw images, how it's untouched. But they can envision themselves, like, okay, if she, like, I just kind of give them the little scenarios where I make them envision the final edit. And then that's when they pick their photos. They're making the selection on what digitals they would like me to edit. So I'm not editing 60, 70 images for them to just pick. I am letting them pick and then I'll edit afterwards.
And you do IPS too, right?
They're picking the photos for me to edit. They choose whatever products they would like. I offer canvas, acrylic prints, albums, and matte prints as well. Matted prints. The basic they can get is a matted print.
Are they seeing these, I guess, raw images right after the session, immediately right at the end of the session?
Yes.
While they're getting changed?
What
Yeah.
she said.
Well, I wasn't sure there was a time gap. I wasn't sure there's a time gap between.
She's
No.
not editing them yet. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as soon as we're done, I'm like, all right, go get changed. And while they're changing, I'm uploading the photos and I'm displaying them on a TV so they can see them nice and
And
big.
then product wise, do they have to buy when they're picking their photos to be edited, like their selections?
Yeah, so they're purchasing that day. They are not leaving with something physically. but they're making a purchase that day.
Right.
Mhm.
And then can they add stuff later after you give them the edited raws? Edited files?
Yeah, they can add products afterwards. I usually try to get it all in there.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I've had cases where a client might say, "Hey, I have to go."
Yeah.
I don't have time. And I'm like, come in another day. But I don't want them to leave and then just like too many days in between. Too many days in between the shoot. They have too much time to think.
Right.
Yeah.
In a
Right.
sense.
Yeah.
Too much time to like be analytical. And I'd rather get them on emotion than analytical.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely.
That's like the traditional IPS model of like.
That's how they get me.
Yes. That's how it is. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my
So
gosh.
it's a little bit of how I like to work it.
Yeah.
And it's been amazing so far. It's been a great experience. And I feel like the fear is always like, what if they say no? Or what if, but you have to prepare them beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I have a consultation with every client before, like a phone consultation or video consultation before they even book.
Yeah.
Right.
I've had clients like try to book just online on email. And I'll say like, hey, let's talk on the phone real quick before we proceed. That way they're clear.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want them to come in the day of the shoot and say, well, I didn't know it was this price, or I didn't know I was, then they don't trust you. And then they're kind of skeptical to spend with you.
Yeah.
So they're already mentally prepared with your
About
pricing
the
menu.
IPS,
With your pricing
definitely.
menu.
Yep.
And I emailed them like a few days before the actual shoot, sharing my pricing again, saying how excited I am and how I'm looking forward to spending the day with them. And just kind of like laying it all out one more time.
Mm-hmm.
That way, when they come in, the expectation is already there. They already know what to expect. They already know how it's going to flow. Even I give them tips if they have kids, what to do with the kids, because we want to make sure kids are happy. It can be hard sometimes.
Yes.
And I think that has been my biggest challenge, even though I'm a mom, doing family photos, just how to keep the kids happy. It's been a learning experience too, because, you know, every kid is different. Everyone does things differently. So just all the tips I've accumulated after like so many years now. I'm like, hey, make sure they nap, make sure they have snacks, make sure all of these things just to make sure that they're happy. I didn't have to think about that on a wedding day.
Right.
It was like a whole new experience.
Yes.
With
Somebody else's problem.
yeah,
Whoever's
Flower
parents.
Oh,
girl's acting up, not my problem.
yeah, exactly.
They're like,
So,
get this kid out of here.
oh, she's not in the wedding party photos. Okay.
You're like, no, we don't have to force her.
Yeah, exactly.
So speaking of challenges with doing studio work, I mean, what has been your other big challenges as you transitioned into more portrait heavy type of work? What other challenges should, like, let's say someone wants to follow that path as well. Like, hey, listen, I want my weekends back. I want to go do more studio work. What other challenges should they prepare themselves or mentally prepare themselves for?
The amount of time it takes me to edit one photo versus a wedding photo that was like one of my biggest
challenges.
challenges.
Imagine AI and pop up inside. No?
That was one of my biggest challenges though. Like what was taking me maybe like a few minutes to edit one wedding image. Now it was taking me like an hour and a half.
Really?
The learning curve with editing in Photoshop, because most of us use Lightroom and stuff, right? That was the biggest challenge for me, is like teaching myself how to do skin edits, how to do like manipulate extending backgrounds, making sure it looks smooth, because sometimes like the backgrounds get wrinkled from like the different temperatures in the studio. So that was like our biggest challenge. My biggest challenge. And then also, I would say not having to buy so much. Like, you don't have to have every prop.
Like what you want. Black wings, white wings. I got them all.
Work with what you have is what I'm trying to like say, because most photographers think that they have to like buy it all. They have to like have it all
We
in their closet.
Oh, really, guys?
I don't have it all.
Yeah.
I don't have it all.
Do you do newborns too? The posing newborns?
No, that's one area I'm not willing to learn or
If
do.
you're interested, I got some PVC pipes. I can,
Do not let Ben do newborns under your brand.
They're like this.
Listen, I did not even do my kids' newborn photos. Like, I trusted a newborn photographer for that.
That's a whole.
That's a whole different
People don't
I
know
heard
it's a
your
specialty. It's a specialty,
Yeah,
guys. Just
that's
like
a whole-
doctors.
yep,
You
yep.
have doctors that specialize in certain
Yes.
things. You have photographers who specialize in certain things.
Yes, exactly.
You know?
I heard your story about newborn
Yeah.
photography.
The blanket.
Turn up the heat.
Not
100
hotter,
degrees.
hotter. I was in tears.
Oh my God, Grisel's like, nah. One thing I wanted to talk to you about and get an idea of, especially for female photographers, as they transition to family life.
Mhm.
Give us an idea, because you were shooting before your second son, or were you shooting with Jacob, the first son?
No, I got pregnant with Jacob in 2013, 2014. And I was already shooting weddings by then.
Mhm.
Yeah, because you started in 2010, you said, right?
Hmm
Same time as us.
So how did you
Yeah.
plan for motherhood, or like how to transition wedding? Because weddings are set in stone. There
Yeah.
are specific dates. How did that process look for you?
Well, we purposely planned for a winter baby because we know
Every photographer
Yeah.
says that.
we know
So many January babies.
We got one in July and one in September.
September,
Oh my gosh.
the busiest season.
So I had it was a running joke with all my couples. I had 6 weddings that week, those 2 weeks, right? Before and after. And I was like, all right, what is the percentage likelihood that my kid is going to be born on one of these weddings, right?
Mhm.
And maybe in hindsight, I shouldn't have done that because maybe it was a little distasteful. But I was like, listen, guys, even when my kid is born, like I will still sue your wedding. Don't worry about it, right? My wife will go into labor by herself, right? But thankfully, the kid came on a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Pretty
So,
much.
yeah. But,
Somebody else will cut the umbilical cord. My editor.
Single mom, I told you here.
but,
One husband.
listen, that's how you know that the first one was planned, the second one was not.
Yeah.
But anyway, so you had your first kid while you were already in the midst of
But
shooting.
you planned
Yeah.
for Jacob?
Yeah, we planned for him he was born in December.
Mm-hmm.
So my last wedding was, I think November, 15th, or it was like some teen weekend. I was already like 37 weeks or something like
God.
that. It was like, but I worked. I was fine. I felt
Yeah.
fine. And I was like, all right, this is my last wedding.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And what was the process with like letting your couples know what was going on?
I didn't let anyone down.
Oh, really?
Honestly, I just kind of was pregnant and just,
I think
this
that's
is
how
it is
you
what it
do
is.
I feel like if you can still do your job,
Yeah.
Yeah.
better,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Unless your due date is
Oh, because your due date didn't really coincide
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
like a
with the
wedding.
wedding.
during
Right.
it,
that's happened. I mean, we booked the wedding once because their photographer,
Got pregnant?
Got pregnant.
yeah, and that their due date was around the wedding. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, that's responsible,
Yeah.
Mhm.
but I feel like you shouldn't have to tell them unless you know.
I didn't want to, like, I mean, I'm not a person of making excuses for myself, like I said before.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm
Mhm.
like, if I'm able to, I'm going to do it.
Right.
Mhm.
I did have someone as a backup
Yeah.
for
Mhm.
me, like for those last weddings,
Yes.
just in case anything were to happen.
Uh-huh.
But I didn't tell my clients that I was pregnant. If they saw it on Instagram, they congratulated me. Some questioned it, like, "Hey,
Mhm.
are you still showing up?" I'm like, "Of course,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
I'm not like not showing
Yeah.
up to your wedding."
I'm going to deliver at your wedding.
I'm like, "What?"
Like actually, my car broke down. I
Yeah.
can't show up.
Right. So yeah, that was crazy. No, but I just, if there was no reason for me not to show up, I'm gonna be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and I felt fine. I shot till I was all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And even with my second one was born in March, but I had a wedding. He was born March 12th. I had a wedding February 28th.
Oh wow.
That's how close
2 weeks
Oh,
apart.
wow.
I cut it.
Oh my gosh.
And I did bring someone with me for that one. I shot almost everything, but she shot the reception for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Because that's mostly like,
Yeah,
you know, just
dancing
dancing
stuff.
and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
And anybody
By
can
that
do that.
point, that my ankles were like,
Right.
like
Swollen.
so
Oh.
swollen.
But, so how long after you delivered did you get back to work, or rather went back to shooting again, shooting weddings?
Well, that
So
year
with
enough.
yeah, my first wedding was, I believe, like February. He was born in December.
2 months break. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
so February 14th, actually, because it snowed. I remember that because the bride's mother, she was like, "Oh my gosh, you just had a baby too! Like, I can't believe it. You're here." I'm like, "Yeah."
You're probably
I'm like,
breastfeeding too. You're probably breastfeeding
yeah,
too. So you had
yeah. I
a
would
pump.
carry my pump with
Yeah.
me,
Oh my God.
and like, you know, all my bags was adding
Yeah.
to the bags. And then I had a cooler, like little cooler for
Yeah.
my So I literally just would show up. And my husband was shooting with me too.
Mm-hmm.
So it was good because he knew when I needed a break and we were just in sync like that.
Yeah.
So he'd kind of cover for me if I needed to, go and excuse myself for a second or whatever. But there were times where I just couldn't. That was the one I shot in Jericho Terrace too. I
Oh,
think.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
So there was one, and it was the middle of the snowstorm. So I was over here with my pump, the like cooler, everything, the light stands, everything like with me. And I had to go find a corner in the Jericho Terrace.
Yes.
Those
I
are
was like,
hard
I
to
don't know
come
where to
by.
go. Yeah, exactly. It was like there were so many rooms that were occupied.
Oh, yeah. Every
my
corner is
gosh.
occupied by
Yeah,
somebody.
So like Karis shot, I think I want to say up to week 36
Mhm.
for both kids, I think. And that's also the other reason why it was never Ben and Karis Lau. It was always Ben Lau because we were starting a family around the same time we were starting the company. That's how we ended up with an associate brand because, I had all these people help me out. And when she was coming back to work, you had these people that helped you
Yeah.
out. What are you going to do with them, right?
Yeah.
So that was our story. But yeah, it's always interesting to see how working moms kind of juggle this career and their families and things like that, especially when you're just like fresh out of, actually technically speaking, you're still on maternity leave.
Yeah.
You got to work while taking care of your kids, taking care of your body, taking care of your clients, all the above. But
In this business, the mothers, whoever the photographers that are moms, they have this industry by the neck.
Why?
Like guys can't juggle all these things, right? So in my opinion, this industry is the best. The people who are doing the best are all women, females.
listen to bro, he's trying to get
Correct.
some biscuits.
It's true. No, it's true. It's 100%. If you look in our area too, if you like research our market, the people that are charging the most, that have the perfect branding, beautiful websites, I guarantee you they're not guys.
Correct.
Are you sure? But it's like men majority ruling industry though.
Yeah.
But it's been like that for decades, right? But I
Yeah.
feel like we're in this time now where the guys are being left behind.
Shifting.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
Correct.
Well, business wise, I feel like business wise, a lot of men just can't do all these things. They don't have the brain power.
Mhm.
We're not wired the same way.
Yeah.
Let's say you Ben Lau.
I mean,
So many things are going through my head right
exception to
now.
the rule.
I mean, I know what's going on with my business. But like, listen, I would probably say that, yeah, these are all generalizations. Because I coach female photographers and male photographers both, right? And I find that a lot of stuff that they struggle with are very similar. But I guess you have a woman's touch that guys don't have, right? So whether it could be branding, it could be other things, right? But certainly there's something that can be said about woman's touch to things. And I wouldn't necessarily say that's better or whatever. As long as you're reaching out to your target audience, that's all that matters, and you have a viable business and putting food on the table. That's all that really matters. I wouldn't say that one's better than the other, but more so they bring different skill sets. They bring different skill sets to the table.
Did you watch Cat Williams?
Why?
Special?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
When he's like, you want shit done? You could get a woman?
Correct.
Like, he said he's always been surrounded by
his
women.
team is surrounded.
women.
It's all women.
And he talks about that. I feel I agree with him 100%. Like,
What do you say?
he basically saying like guys can't get shit done.
Yeah.
We have a bad track record, and basically his whole support team, they're all women.
There's always women behind.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
And he goes,
Men
"You want
can't
it done?"
multitask.
And I mean, he said it.
Ben is not agreeing
and
with
I
any
agree
of
You
with
do
him.
great in running your business, but who's carrying the
Cannot
rest of the life in the
multitask. Yeah,
house?
you cannot multitask.
Your wife. We are the neck.
This is perfect.
Yes,
Grisel's
ladies and
perfect
gentlemen.
example of that too.
Yeah.
I mean, not to downplay what Danny has done, but if the roles were reversed, it would be harder. It's
It
definitely
falls
harder.
apart. Yeah.
But here's my argument, right? Like we're a husband and wife team in the business, right? And I think regardless of how you look at it, it's still a husband and wife team as well.
Yes.
Because, and you guys as well, where one partner is doing one thing, the other partner has their lane that they're taking care of stuff. So it is a team effort. We all six of us are lucky.
But
in
we're
that way.
talking about the family side. If you were in her shoes, where you have to
Yeah.
do a full-time job,
Let's say you were a single
yeah,
dad,
Mhm.
full-time
and
job,
you had custody
come
of your
home,
kids.
Yeah, come home, cook for the kids,
Can't do it.
put them to bed.
No.
They be
Bathe
eating.
them.
They be
Yeah.
eating Jamaican beef
That'd be,
patties.
Can't do it.
that'd be dirty.
Can't do it.
Yeah, that'd be dirty. Not bad.
We calling you from the school like we're concerned.
Yeah, like, we're concerned. Can I talk to your parents or dad?
Your son has not taken a bath. And the fellow kids are complaining about his hygiene.
He's wearing same clothing for a whole year. Like,
No, it's true. Like, I mean, I'm not saying guys can't do it. I'm just saying,
yeah, it's
Like,
definitely
It's a different way that they do it, I think.
Yeah.
It's different isn't necessarily worse or better, but for sure, the woman's touch, especially in the home life, Karis is a lot stronger in that area.
I also feel in our industry, there's not enough recognition about this. You see the ambassadors from
Yes.
different brands.
Mostly
Now,
men.
now,
Mostly men, right?
right now, they're starting to
it's
diversify.
shifting. Yep.
But because they're not show, same thing when you wanted to show more maternity, you were showing maternity, right?
Mhm.
So these brands have always shown these men that have been in this business. But if you really look into the statistics, the women are killing it.
Mhm.
They're killing it.
I don't disagree with that at all.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
do not disagree with that. For the record, let
You
the
better
record show.
not.
I was like,
Let the record show. I do
We'll
not
cancel
disagree
your
with that.
ass.
No. It has not because
No,
of
I
my
know.
fear of
It's true.
cancellation. I do agree with that 1,000%. Yeah.
it's I believe that like what Ben said, there is a balance. Like I know that my husband definitely supports me a lot on the back end of things. He might not be the like face for a while because he was shooting for me for a long time.
For free.
He was supporting Grisel's photography. Okay.
Hey man, I shoot for free too. I'll get paid.
So for a long time he was there, and a lot of times it was a package deal where people would meet both of us, they would see both of us, but it was never Grisel and Danny's photography. It was never like that because somebody had to like. I didn't want to sell that brand
Right.
if he was not going to be around the whole time.
Right.
100%.
Of course.
That's
Yeah.
exactly why we had just Ben Lau. That's
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Same reason. So while Grisel's photography grew, like I knew that there were some things that he was gonna have to support me in at home, and it might not have been making dinner because he's not like the best at making dinner, but it's definitely like, hey, can you put the kids to sleep while I'm editing, or can you do this instead? During those, especially those times where we were still growing, and I was still working both jobs. It was a lot of him supporting on the latter side, the home side.
Mhm.
So I'm grateful for the fact that I had a partner that was not only supportive but also encouraging.
Mhm.
Just pushing me along. There's
The
many
silent
times
partner.
you want to quit. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
silent partner. Yes,
Yeah.
many times you want to quit because it is hard.
Right.
But
He's your handyman. He sets up the studio.
listen, he's very smart too. I'm like, listen, he's tech
I
savvy.
didn't meet this Danny.
Yes, they've met him. They know
Yeah.
who he is.
We've hung out numerous times.
So he's very tech savvy. He's on my website when I was first starting out. He's the one that did a lot of the back end of stuff. He did my taxes.
How long did it take him?
He had the visor on.
Have you seen my money counter?
Press the button.
So I mean, he's definitely been the part of the growth
Yeah.
Mhm.
of the business.
Of course.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's really refreshing to see like other entrepreneurs, other small businesses who had a similar journey as us. I think that's one of the things that are missing for a lot of entrepreneurs who feel like they're very alone because this line of work can be very lonely. You just put your head down and work.
I think that was one of the biggest challenges when I left my full-time job was not having coworkers to go to lunch with
Yeah.
or like having that community,
Break room.
that break room
Yeah.
experience. I think that I took that for granted. And then when I was home, I'm like, okay, who's going to go to lunch with me? But then I leaned onto like the different Facebook groups I was in to build that community. I'm grateful for that.
Are you only in Better Together?
I was part of Better Together, but also Tuesdays Together.
Oh, Rising Tide, yes. I'm an
Rising
admin in that
Tides.
group now.
Yeah, I was
I got
part of that.
Because
And
you have
also-
so much time.
And then also, the Lens and Light guy, he's at Rising Tide.
Yeah. And so we talked
yeah.
a little bit earlier about trade shows. And we did a couple of trade shows
Did you
together.
do
Oh,
trade
yeah,
shows
that's
for
right.
weddings?
We
Yeah.
did a couple with
For
her. Yeah.
weddings.
Oh,
For
my
weddings.
God.
We did the
Meadowlands
right?
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big one.
The big one.
That was a good like co-working experience for
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
of us.
And then we went out to eat afterwards.
It was
It was a
Cuban.
great experience. Yes.
Yeah.
Cuban food.
We always do Cuban food. And we're not Cuban.
Well, today we're doing El Salvadorian. So
So yes, there we go.
Did you enjoy like what was your personal experience with it?
So I had a great experience. I think that I like talking to people. I like
Yeah.
having conversation with people. And anytime anyone would just come to the booth, I'd just give them my spiel, but also like connect with them. Like, hey, where's your wedding? Where's this? Where's that? Just have that experience with them. So I ended up having like, I think was it 4 or 5 weddings. It was a big
Nice.
Yeah,
return.
that show is the best one in my opinion.
Yeah.
is that ACS?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Meadow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ACS.
ACS.
But Jen screamed at them our last year.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Stop emailing me.
No, like what happened was we told them that we were gonna do next year. Something happened. They tried to take us to collections because
Or
we're
show
like
that you didn't do?
no. So they were like, "Oh, you owe us the money.
Uh-huh.
The show is
Regardless.
happening," and we're like, Jen had to get on the phone. She's screaming at them. She's like, "I'm not doing it. I'm not paying you." Then they threatened to take us to collections, so we showed up and we did the show because if they're gonna charge us and we have to pay them, like let's do
Yeah,
it.
might
you know?
as well,
We
yeah.
booked 2 weddings that last
Yeah.
But the thing is, why would you be obligated to go if you didn't sign up for it?
It's a contract.
Yeah, I think it was like a multi-year.
Multi-year.
Oh,
Mhm.
really?
That's how they swindle you into
You got to do a multi-year for discount and
Oh.
stuff.
But if
Mhm.
you don't like, yeah. So the first and only time that I did it was in 2020, and I made sure to look at the contract. And for the first contract they sent me, it was a multi-year, and then I was like, wait, I didn't sign. I didn't agree to that. Then they sent me a second contract, and it said 1 year,
Uh-huh.
and that's how I made sure that I wasn't swindled into signing a
That's how
multi-year
they get you.
contract. That's how they get you. Yeah.
Fine
I
print.
remember now. You have to cancel
Yeah.
90 days before,
Oh.
and Jen called them like a day,
Late.
Like
Yeah,
89 to 89.
or some
Yeah.
bullshit
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah.
Jen was just screaming at them
Yeah.
because they got nasty with her, and she got nasty with them. And the point is, we did the show, we got our money back.
Yeah.
But
Sorry.
it's a great show. Like I feel like people say that a lot of people have a perspective of that there's a lot of budget
Yes.
couples.
I got that question yesterday.
Mhm.
Oh,
Yes and no. Like
Right, right.
you know, there is obviously just like
Yeah,
any
of
other
course,
yep.
you know,
It's an open market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's an open marketplace.
but the leads that we got from there, they spent a good amount of money.
Good, yeah.
It's just like once we started getting to a higher price point, we booked less.
Yeah.
You know, and at that point it became
Think about
It's
it
a lot of work.
Thinking about it this way,
Mhm.
right? You're at a trade show. You're showing your work on the screens, or you're showing your work on the walls, right? You got some artwork. The thing is, once clients see your work, right, they know that they should expect to pay a certain price. It's just like if you were to go to like a giant warehouse with different car companies, and I got all the different cars out there on display, right? You look at a Lamborghini or some kind of sports car, compare that to like a hoopty and stuff. You know that you're going to be spending more for the sports car. You know what I mean? So, so I think it would be kind of similar if you were to walk around the trade room floor.
Yeah.
You see something that's really, really nice. You're going to expect to pay a little bit more.
one thing I do suggest too is show diversity,
Mhm.
show different ethnicities in your slideshows.
Different minority groups.
Oh yeah, we booked a black wedding because of that, because we were the only ones that had an album with
Yeah.
with a black couple,
Mhm.
and I was just like, and she came up to me and was like, "You're the only one." I was like, "It's like 20 photographers here."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, I will say though, right? I shoot maybe one black wedding a year, right? And it's not for lack of trying. I shoot whoever hires me, you know. But that being said, and I teach this in my sales marketing. By the way, I'm not plugging my sales and marketing course, right? But I will say though,
You could plug it in if you want.
Just pay us.
Yeah, but I will say though, clients they hire people who they feel like belong to the same tribe as them. This is not to say that queer people only hire queer people, black people only hire black people, or whatever it is, right? But at least when you look at my portfolio, right, and compare that to yours, I shoot a lot more Asian weddings than you guys do,
Mhm.
and it's not because I'm marketing to them. It's just I think
There's a certain level of comfort.
right.
by when you meet with similar people as yourself,
Right.
Mhm.
they connect with you and they hire you.
It's not a
It's
racist
given.
issue. It's not
No.
a bigoted
No.
issue or anything like that. Just like, well, I don't know. I think we both shoot the same amount of Latin people.
Well,
Yeah,
Which
we
is not a
don't.
lot.
We don't really shoot our people.
I have gotten hired many times because I do speak Spanish.
Right.
Yep.
So a lot of couples have wanted to have photographers that are able to make their parents feel included.
Right.
And
That's
that was
another
one
thing.
of the key things in a conversation and like some consultations. They're like, "Oh, do you speak Spanish?" I'm like, "Yeah, I do."
Yes.
They're like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, they want their parents to feel included. They want them to feel involved in
Right.
that whole process. So I have gotten, it's a little bit of an advantage, but I have gotten
I'll take all
hired
the,
because
I'll
of,
take all the advantages I'll get.
Right,
But
right.
I don't.
Someone does a review like that.
Yeah.
I don't.
They
Yeah, I
would
just don't want people to
communicate with
feel
the
like
grandparents.
people are being racist. The clients are being racist because of that. They have every right to want to hire someone if they belong to the same, I guess, minority group.
That's fine.
Because Karis and I mean, we book a lot of Chinese and Korean
I
couples.
don't.
Well, you
You
don't
do.
want,
I don't.
Well,
I'm not
you-
Chinese, by the way, people.
well, you don't want to shoot Koreans. That's not my problem. It's your people.
I get Koreans. I get few Koreans,
But
but
you probably get more Koreans than they do.
No, no.
That's what I'm saying.
yeah, I get like one or two. But a lot of my couples are actually mixed, like Asian bride with like non-Asian, like there are a lot of mixed couples. Yep.
Interracial.
So,
Inter-
for
interracial,
instance,
yep.
today, right before we started recording the podcast today, I was at a consult, and the fact that I was able to talk about a typical Chinese wedding day because they have certain things that they do, like a tea pouring ceremony, and they have a procession, they have door games and things like that. Certainly, if you are a non-Chinese person and you've shot a lot of Chinese weddings, you might know this stuff, right? But the fact that I can also speak the language, there was a level of comfort there, and that's why they're moving forward with
it
me.
definitely helps.
You know
Yep.
what I mean?
And then just like you said, the parents being comfortable, even during like family formals, like you can communicate with them. I think that helps too. Yep,
Right.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
On the other side of that coin, you shouldn't be going on social media and say, "Hey, listen, any queer couples out there? I need to kind of add some queer diversity into my portfolio.
Just
So I'm looking for blah 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 blah, and I'll shoot you for free." Like that's, I think Rylan cautioned us against doing that.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
yes.
You know?
he says to give them value as well, like
Yep.
because they're giving you value.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah,
that was very informative.
don't get it just to have a
Specifically,
token.
right.
Just
right.
have a token,
Definitely
whatever.
not. Yep.
Yeah, someone came because I was at the LGBTQ booth, right, or rather the event, and somebody came up to me because I had two slideshows going. One was LGBTQ, and the other one was just not, right. And they're like, "Yo, why aren't you showing like just everything LGBTQ? That's you're at this event. You should be showing all LGBTQ weddings." I was like, "Well, I don't want them to think that I'm pandering to them because I'm not a part of the community. I'm not. I have to." That's the giant pink elephant in the room. I'm not a member of that community. I can't be mad about that. They can't be mad about that. But I don't want their wedding to be just rainbows, everything, right? I want them to focus on the core of what I do, which is storytelling and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And that's outside of their gender identity
You're
and their
capturing
sexuality.
the story and their story and their love.
Yeah. The love.
Doesn't matter who pays you, who hires you.
Exactly.
Yeah. The only reason why I'm showing the queer weddings is because I wanted to show that I have done them.
Yeah.
I am comfortable. I am an ally.
You're familiar with it.
I'm familiar with it, but I also want them to know that I'm not doing this just to have a token gay wedding in my portfolio. I do all this other stuff too. I'm not going to make the whole day about just, hey, this is your gay wedding. This is about shooting your wedding day. I'm going to treat your wedding just like any other wedding.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, and also I actually had one couple come up to me at this trade show. Hey, Pearl Paper Studio, is this queer owned? I was like, no, I mean, I'm an ally, but it's me and my wife. And they were like, oh, we're looking for a studio that's queer owned. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
My feelings
Totally fine.
my feelings are not hurt. I understand where you're coming from. And I think some people get mad about that.
I don't.
No,
Yeah.
not well. That's because you're a minority as well, right? But some folks who are not minorities, they're like, well, what if the reverse were true?
What does it matter, right?
Like, what if it was reverse was true? If white couples only wanted to work with white photographers, right? So, and I think this was a discussion that was brought up. I don't know, maybe about a year or 2 years ago, right? So you got some white photographers got really mad about that.
Gotta understand the history too. I mean,
Yeah.
they've been at an advantage for centuries. We're just trying to catch up, and that's the reason why people do that. Like, keep it
Keep the money in the community.
There. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I get it. It's happened to us too. I mean,
Definitely,
Mhm.
of course.
you know, like whatever. It is
Even
what
like
it is.
women-owned businesses, you know, a lot of my brides come because like I'm
wanna
a
support
woman.
women-owned.
Yep, women-owned. Yep.
Ben Lau was women owned too.
Takes Ben Lau money.
So what are your secrets for your trade show? Like what makes your trade shows convert better for you? What do you do?
I mean, like you all have said already, you follow up with email. But I also, something that Jen said was you kind of go a little extra mile for the one that you made the connection with.
Mhm.
Definitely do that. I think that that's something that I made as a practice was just kind of remembering and like saying their name multiple times.
Oh yeah,
Just
that's very
connect.
powerful.
Yes, it's very powerful. Instead of like, oh, you know, like just having that connection with them, it made them remember my name too.
Mhm.
So just kind of like doing that
People
was
don't know
a
that
good
that's
practice.
a secret. That's a secret move. That's a very powerful move. When you learn someone's name, the more times you say it, the more of an impact that you'll make. Because have you ever read the book How to Win Friends and Influence People?
Mhm.
A person's name is the sweetest sound. If you could say their name over and over again, they're just heart eyes bursting from their faces. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's good. Just follow up, say their names. Anything else?
Show diversity, definitely.
Yeah.
I did show diversity, and maybe she didn't come to my booth. Like, but
But that
no,
is important. I make sure that.
it
show
is.
Did you
diversity
have
as
an
well.
album?
I did. No, definitely show diversity and just do something different than what everyone else is doing. Like we didn't do a whole big display like everyone else. We kept it simple and we kept it more about who we were.
Selling yourself.
Selling yourself. Yeah, we put up one or two nice pictures and a few albums out, but that didn't really like make a large impact versus like just coming out to us and talking to us.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I tell you what, I definitely used to feel intimidated when I would walk around and see other photographers with these nice booths, couches.
Oh, some of these people go crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it's like what you said. Like what counts is the connections you're making.
Mhm.
So you could just have a laptop. A laptop showing a slideshow. I mean, I would do a little more, but what I'm saying is like you can have something so simple and be good at selling, and you'll still book weddings from it.
Yeah.
I'll tell you guys another secret. Something that I do at every trade show is, every trade show is going to have some lulls throughout the day, right? So during those lulls, I'll go around, make friends. I'll go around, make friends with everyone. I'll take pictures. I'll tag the venue. I'll tag these other vendors. I'll take selfies with them. I'll tag them. If they need coffee or whatever, I'll get them coffee. Because the thing is, you shouldn't focus all your energy on just people who are going to give you money. You want to spend some of that energy focusing on folks who will send you people who will spend money with you. You know what I mean? This Rainbow Wedding Network wedding show that I do, this is my 4th or 5th time doing it. I think the 3rd or 4th one that I did, I actually got a wedding, not from the show itself, but from the couples who attended itself. I actually got that lead from a fellow photographer who's like, hey, thanks so much for stopping by. Are you available next month? And I was like, yeah, I'm available. Get it done.
You goddamn right.
No, but one thing I wanted to add was that aside from just wedding shows, it kind of ties into IPS as well, is that, after you kind of have your script of what you say, you have to say it with confidence. And it's kind of like you have to believe in what you're selling. Because the first few times that I tried to do it, I didn't get those upgraded sales or anything like that. It was kind of like what I showed them is what I got. That's it. But once I started like telling them like this is like believing in what I was saying and what I was selling was key, and also just having that confidence. Yeah, this is what it is. It is like kind of like
You're
this
gonna
is the
want this.
yes,
want
exactly.
That. Everybody gets that.
This is our most popular package, like, and just kind of showing them the actual tangible products too. That helps a lot.
Yeah.
So I have everything on display at the studio, so that they can visualize themselves. I can put this on my living room wall, and I even ask them like, "Where's this gonna go? In the nursery or in the living room or in your bedroom, whichever one." Like, I make them visualize it that way. They can like. Oh yeah, I want to add something else too. Like,
Yeah.
What if they say, hey, it's going to go on my phone background?
Yeah, no. You don't want it to live in your phone. Like, no.
Yes.
Well, that's when you prime it from the jump of like, now I tell everybody what your phone's just going to die in the computer. Like, so what's the point?
Yeah.
we've lost weddings because of it. That's fine,
Right,
You know,
yeah.
you don't want those weddings. Like,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, today I didn't even have to fight them over a book. They were like, "Yeah, we were thinking about getting a book." I was like,
Yeah. Yep.
it's already included, so don't even worry about it.
say no more.
You're already getting one, so it's already included. I know a lot of my other colleagues, they might try to upsell you on the album.
Yeah.
You're already getting one for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know. Yeah,
There was a
anyway.
good post in BT about that recently. About he was asking like, how do you guys?
This is a good one. This is a
How
good
did you guys upsell or convince couples to get albums? And I was just kind of shocked at some people
one.
and their
Actually,
responses.
I think the question was, all my couples are asking for digitals these days. Nobody wants an
Wants an
album.
album.
So how are you guys selling albums,
Mhm.
right? Because I see all these people with great success having IPS, but all my couples only want digitals. And I
Mhm.
chimed in, and you chimed in right after me, right?
Yeah. Number one, you just don't make it an option. Like
Yeah.
you're getting an album, use it or
That's
lose
it,
it.
yep.
But you're getting it. I'm not lowering my price for it.
And then you got all these people jumping in on that thread, like, "Oh yeah, the economy is the bad. Everyone's tightening their wallet and blah blah blah." And I chimed in. I was like, "Listen, I'm not saying this to brag, but I got a pretty full calendar, and they all got albums. So
Mhm.
I don't know what you're saying,
Yeah.
And I'm not cheap either. So I don't know."
It's always charge enough. You don't have to sell albums.
Yeah,
That's
or
the
it's the
mentality.
mindset of they were saying like, oh well, everyone wants everything on their phone anyway, or they were saying
Here's the thing.
someone said this will drive me nuts. Someone said, yeah, I don't want to sell them albums because I'm going to be honest with them and tell them that they can get it cheaper somewhere else.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
I was fury.
I was like,
Fury.
I was like, hold it back. I'm not going to comment because I don't like to engage on Facebook. It never goes anywhere,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to change their mind anyway.
Yeah.
But I was just like, there's such a broader mindset of what we need to
But let me
change.
tell you something. This person who's complaining about getting cheap clients and stuff. Let me tell you something. His website, he doesn't have a website. It's a smug mug website. Okay.
Oh no!
So he can't even list pricing and contact forms and all that kind of stuff on his website. So he's talking about getting budget clients. Well, listen, you got a budget website, okay? So how do you expect to attract higher end clients if you're too cheap to get yourself even like a
Website.
paid Squarespace website or something?
You start doing that whenever you see posts like that. Just give them a audit.
I did.
Like-
I did audit them. I was like, hey, listen, I just peeped your website. There's no way you're gonna
I
get.
would have loved to have gotten that when I was starting out. Did you ever hear about Fred Miranda, the
Sure.
forum? So when I was a lurker there when we were starting out.
You're a lurker now.
And I forgot the photographer's name, but they were like, established photographer in the industry. And on his downtime, he would just say, post your website. I'll tell you what I feel you're worth. Right. And at the time we were charging like peanuts. We were just starting out. So I posted our site and he basically said we were worth double what we were charging. I'm like, holy shit.
You can't do that anymore. You're gonna get canceled.
Right. But he also like gave me a couple of pointers and I was like, all right. And then I went back, tweaked a couple of things. But if no one would have told me that, my website would have stayed the same. I probably still would have been charging the same.
Mhm.
I feel like it's so important. If your storefront is just like doesn't look appealing,
Mhm.
you're not gonna get
Yeah,
those
if it looks
couples.
dated, it looks like it came from the 1990s with GeoCities or something like that. No one's going to pay you big bucks for it.
Yeah, and then
think
they're
it's also
definitely not going to pay for an
mentality.
album.
It's also mentality, though. The guy that posted that on Facebook saying, like, oh, my clients don't want albums. Well, what are you saying to them that they don't want an album?
You're
Are
telling
you
them.
just telling them, hey, you want an album?
Right.
That's not going to convince anybody.
Mhm.
It's how you're selling it,
And
how
you know
you're
what's
saying
funny?
it.
So this guy, he was saying, "Oh yeah, they never want an album and stuff, and because they don't or whatever, right?" And I was like, "Did you even get them on a call? Are they telling you just no albums right off the jump, or is this happening during the sales call?" And then another person is like, "Yeah, there's no way that all this happened without a consult, right?"
Mhm.
And then sure enough, the original photographer is like, "Yeah, I didn't have a consult." So like this, you got all these knuckleheads in there assuming certain things,
Knuckleheads.
right? I was like, dude, there's no way that this conversation took place over a consult. This is like you wouldn't get those rejections. Like I've been doing this a long time. I know what kind of objections you will get during a consult, right? And I was like, there's no way he got this objection.
Through email.
Yeah, through a
yeah.
consult. He got this over email, okay? And this other person chimed in and said, yeah, there's no way he he had a consult and they said no. And I was like, no, I don't think so.
Mhm.
And turns out I was right. Okay. I wanted to talk about this last night. I ran out of time. And I had this conversation with another photographer. I was like, you got to be really careful about who you take advice from. Because a lot of times in these Facebook groups, you're getting advice from people who are struggling themselves. They don't know their head from their asses. And
Preach, amen, keep going,
Or
Pastor
sometimes
Ben.
they're bitter. Sometimes they're bitter in the industry too.
Yep,
Like
yep.
they've
angry
been
about
hurt.
something.
Yeah.
They're angry about something and they're just giving out bad advice. And for whatever reason, they think that they are above it
Yep,
all.
yep.
But the thing is, it's an empty shell. Okay.
I just want to mention that one of those people in there giving advice is a person who's generating images through AI and trying to pose them as their
Oh,
own.
yeah, I had to bite my
So,
tongue for that one.
Yeah, and, like you're not fooling nobody. You're not fooling nobody. And how dare you? How dare you do that in the industry and then try to lie to your potential clients and then also give shitty advice like that? Like,
And I think what annoys me the most is that they backhandedly like attacking photographers that do sell albums. It's kind of like someone said, "Oh, that's just so sleazy to like upsell an album after the wedding," or like we don't even include it because like whatever doing it afterwards is a sleazy process, and I would never. And in my head, I'm like, it's very unfortunate for you. Number one, because yes, I'm making money, but I'm also providing a service to my client above and beyond just having their photos live on the computer for the rest of their lives.
Right.
So, like, yes, am I profiting from it? Absolutely. But my clients, it's not like they're not getting anything out of it. They're actually getting a product that they'll have for the rest of their life.
This is a great segue to what I wanted to talk about. We talked about this earlier today, right? So last week or 2 weeks ago, it was Rose's birthday, right? And we went out to a very delicious dinner.
I'm dying to talk about this.
Right? It's a very delicious dinner, right? But the thing is, could we have produced a similar meal at home? I mean, not really, but but we could have
Maybe.
No tomahawks at home.
but we could have produced a very delicious meal at home for maybe even a quarter of the price, right? So this is the analogy I wanted to make with people who are getting professionals who are really good at what they do. You're paying a premium for it, and you're getting something premium in return for it. Versus doing it yourself, you'll get something reasonably okay, right? And it'll be very, very, very cheap. But the thing is, the reason why we went out was because it wasn't just the meal that we were looking for. We were looking for the experience. We were looking for something that was a little more elevated. We were looking for something that we wanted to be taken care of. Because if you're at home doing it yourself, I'm sweating in the kitchen. Or maybe I'm not. Karis is sweating in the kitchen, right? But we got to do it ourselves.
As always.
We got to do it ourselves, right? So for the people who say that, I could do it myself and it'll be cheaper. Yeah, you can listen. You can DIY anything yourself.
Yep.
But there's a reason why, chefs still go out to eat at other chefs' restaurant. They want to be served. They want to experience what other people have to offer. All right, and they'll pay a premium for it.
It's definitely different quality. You're not going to get that. So I recently booked a wedding where during the meeting, clients were kind of iffy about the album because she said she's a graphic designer and she's like, I have all these sources and I could get my own album and all our friends got their own albums and they were on a budget. So I was like, well, I'll get back to you with the album, right? So we're like, no. So I wrote her back. I was like, no, unfortunately, album stays and this is it, right? And they're like, okay. So they booked with me. They moved forward and they came and looked at the album and they're very, very impressed by the quality, even the graphic designer. And, they're both very impressed. They were happy with their, decision to move forward. And
yeah, I know that IPS is a very touchy subject in our industry.
it's getting a little more.
Yeah, it's getting a little bit more acceptable now. But I listen, IPS is new to at least 4 of us. I don't know about you, Gricel, but IPS is still a newish concept for us. I've only been doing it for about a year, and JR has been doing it for about 2 years, right? Something like that. So it's
and this is us not doing it ourselves,
right? And this
you
is
do
about,
it yourself.
Yeah, so it's still relatively new in our process. And this is not to say that we're IPS evangelists, but the thing is, the thing that really turned it around for me, for me to consider the other side of this business model, was when I was watching a presentation by asset/printographers where, what do you think the clients are doing with the images after they get them? They're going to produce prints and albums too. They're not just letting them sit in digital. You'd be naive to think that, okay? Why should Walmart or Walgreens or even Shutterfly have make a profit off of your images.
Our hard work.
All right,
Our
you're the
art.
one. You're the one who worked hard to produce these images. It's not a finished product. You know, why are you letting Walmart and Walgreens and Costco and BJ's and to make money off your work? You should be doing that for your clients.
The statistic was crazy. How many millions they make?
Yeah.
Well, forget about the money aspect of it. It's just about serving the clients. Because your clients are looking for that service.
It's like closing the loop. You're closing that loop in that experience when you give them a final product. When you're just giving them that digital, it's just kind of like this. It's like a question mark at the end. You're not really closing that loop. You're just like, are they going to print it, or are they going to get a good quality print out of it? It's not a end to that experience. Now with a tangible product via an album or a wall art or something, you're giving them something that they can actually cherish and actually
look at
yes. And like, oh yeah.
I always say that the statistic of kids growing up and seeing themselves on the wall, they grow up and have higher self-confidence. So, I mean, this is something that we don't think about either. Like, just seeing yourself growing up, like seeing your
on the
baby
wall,
pictures, and that kid is gonna grow up and have better self-esteem and everything.
But speaking as a consumer, having our families photographed and having ourselves photographed, the photographers who photographed us, they did give us all the digitals, and we did make the prints. But thankfully, we have the credentials to make the prints with professional labs and whatnot. Right. So in that way, we did save a lot of money because had he IPS'd us, we would have gone broke. We would still be paying for those photos today. Okay. Because we did print all those photos all around the house. But that being said, had he IPS'd us, we would have paid it, obviously, because those were all great images.
One conversation that me and Jen always had in the beginning was, how would we feel being put on the other side? Right. And Jen goes, I don't know. No one has ever put
IPS you guys?
Yeah.
Right.
No one has ever given me the experience that we give. No one has ever.
I'm going to give Tony a call real quick.
No one has ever treated us like we treat our clients.
Right.
So she goes, I can't say. And it's so true. I started thinking about it. And, being that we've hired, for our wedding and our renewal, and the transactional experiences between both people are just like.
Well, I had this conversation at Summit with Carolina Rivera, because she did my boudoir photos for vow renewal. And I told her, I said straight up, she passive aggressively IPS'd me. So like what we used to do, we like just send out the gallery and then like hope you order something.
Not even aggressively then.
But she primed me from the beginning. Like she like brought albums to the boudoir session, showed me the products that she offers. Because I knew I was going to go on a route with a tangible product, but I didn't know what I was going to spend, what my budget was going to be. Do I want an album? Do I just want a framed photo? Whatever. So she brought all the products to the session. I saw all them. But it wasn't like an image reveal meeting where she sat me down or showed me. It was just like, here's your gallery, all in email. These are the options, blah, blah, blah. Let me know what you want. And then after I saw the images, I was like, all right, give me all the images, paid for those. And I was like, all right, give me an album. And I paid for those. And then
I wouldn't say that's passive aggressive, though. It's just more passive, if anything.
I didn't mean passive aggressive. Yeah, I meant it was more passive approach, like what I used to do with my clients, and like hope they would spend money.
Right.
But thankfully, you did spend money.
Yes,
for her, right?
Yes, the row after was like, you did what? And it wasn't even a lot. I think I spent like $1,500 with her post session.
Dude, that's not a lot.
Yeah.
So it wasn't, but for us at the time, because it's not something that we value at the time.
I was okay with it. I didn't really care. I mean,
you were like, you did what? Yes, you did.
2018, you guys were making good money.
But it was
I wasn't angry that she like spent that much money. I was just like, oh yeah, oh wow, like that, like okay.
More so because at the
our
time,
clients weren't spending that,
right? And more so because at the time we didn't value it ourselves as much as we do now. So like to say that I spent 15, and also to have the mindset of like, yo, Jen, we could have done this ourselves. Like, I wanted her to handle everything.
No, that's different. Yeah, that's
I wanted her to put her touch on it, and she wrapped it beautifully. She sent it to me.
I still have I don't know if this came included, but I have a picture of the session on my nightstand, and it's like framed and like the edges are like weathered, So I don't know, like, did you pay extra for that, or they came with it? With
It was like
everything?
a part of the collection, I think,
Okay,
and
so
then with
I
the
still
album.
have
Like a
that.
fine art print.
So you
Well,
guys
the
still-
album's on our shelf too.
Yeah.
Right, but I have that displayed. Like,
You have a boudoir picture of your wife on your nightstand, so it's a half naked
it's
picture
not.
of your wife.
It's
The
not
last thing
really.
you see
it's not
before
one of
you go to
those.
bed.
It's very like abstract and artsy.
Sure.
Yeah. So you don't see anything.
Yeah, I think it's this picture here on my.
Yeah, it could be for your eyes only.
No. Yeah.
Me and
And
yourself,
then, like,
you're
wait,
you don't see
okay.
nothing.
No.
Because Carolina shoots very like dark.
She
Yeah.
does, yeah.
And,
Like,
like-
you can see it
Style.
briefly.
Yep,
And I
Okay.
told her I didn't want raunchy, so like
Yeah.
it was very like moody, tasteful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
like
roast
that's
style,
still
roast
yeah,
style.
that's still on my
Yeah.
nightstand.
Oh.
Whatever.
Mhm.
So
I
I
was thinking
appreciate it.
He said-
What is that?
I was thinking the same thing he said. I'm like, oh, a boudoir photo on your nightstand. Huh?
Half naked photo of your wife before you go to bed.
It's not half naked. You can't tell.
Fully naked?
Yeah. You can't tell.
It's just a picture of her
I-
nose.
What I will say is that Jen had a see-through shirt with no bra on, but like and
Oh.
You didn't
we
even
have
have
to
to go
keep going
that
into the details of my
far.
shoot.
You didn't have to go that
TMI.
far.
Going back to the original point was that I had a different experience with her than with people who shot like our wedding or our vow renewal. Like
Yeah.
Mhm.
even the guy who shot our vow renewal, he was just like, "Yeah, here's our like album pricing," but he's flat out said, "I know you can do this yourself."
Mhm.
So,
So here,
and I wanted
go take
You
it.
want to hear
Yeah.
something
I did
funny?
do it myself.
So you guys want to hear something funny? So we did our family session during COVID, and this photographer gave us the gallery, right? So we made prints ourselves. I framed it. I matted it. I framed it, and he came over to the house, a couple weeks ago,
Oh yeah.
and the picture was already falling off the matting because I did it myself. You know what I mean? And he's like, "Yo, is that my picture on your wall?" And it's coming
Of
off the
course
matting.
it's falling off.
And of course it's falling off. Is this an omen? Is this happening because I'm here? Like, what's going on? So I was like, yeah, I haven't had time to fix it, right? But this is what happens when you do things yourself. You DIY things yourself.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. I'll get it fixed, but this is why you have professionals do things.
Correct.
Although technically speaking, I am a professional, but
Not at matting
Not
prints.
the, yeah.
No.
IPS professional.
Uh-huh.
No.
You need to stop buying those IKEA frames.
no, I did not get it from IKEA. I did not get it from IKEA. I got it on Amazon.
Even worse. That's even worse.
I got the second from the highest.
So my friend
Most popular.
my friend owns a framing business in Towns River. He works out of his house now, but I got to appreciate a lot of those custom
Yeah.
when they custom build you
They
a
are
frame.
nice. Yep.
They're not cheap,
They're,
and
yes.
but you're paying a premium because it's like anything custom
Uh-huh.
plus
Mhm.
custom money.
Mhm.
Right.
But I got to appreciate a lot of the stuff. He taught me a lot about like he did my WPPI mounting the
Mhm.
first year, so I learned a lot from him.
And that's why you took that skill and you sold it to your friends.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yes,
So,
yes.
so,
You learned it.
so basically, I would bring him the prints, and he would mount them. And
Basically, what you offered to all your friends.
right. And what I noticed that my biggest expense was going to him.
Mhm.
So in order to make it affordable for me and my friends, I started doing it myself.
Mhm.
I cut him out.
You cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
I still can't mount, but I bought the printer.
We've never even
Use
used
the printer
it.
yet.
What printer you
once.
have?
What printer?
P900.
What,
Uh-huh.
yeah, you told us to buy.
Ooh, that was really
I'm
good.
about to use it to.
Let's go.
I want to
Whatever.
print some those frilled edges. I was just
Okay.
Because
researching
we
about
were
papers and
going
stuff.
to
fine
submit
art.
for awards, but that awards is no longer there.
I wanna
so.
start.
So you were trying to
offering
cut
that.
me out, just like I cut my friend out.
He sure was.
Yes, he was.
The year after you printed, he's like, I think at WPPI, he's like, we're gonna get a printer.
You're also paying for my printing experience
Yes,
and my edits because I tweak everybody's
Yeah.
file too.
yeah.
Yeah, like if once I encourage everybody to learn to print because like it's different. It's a different
That's what's up.
experience.
Yes.
It's
Mhm.
it's an added joy
Mm.
into the whole process, like going from camera
Printing.
to you yourself printing it,
Yep.
and there's a whole another art of
It's like
Getting that print.
developing your film.
of
yeah.
getting that print to look exactly of how
Digital,
you,
right? Yeah.
and that takes a lot of skill, it takes a lot of knowledge,
Yeah.
and it takes a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
Like some of my WPPI entries, I print like 10 times.
Yeah.
Mm.
I have to print it 10 times in order to make adjustments.
Mm.
And I do that for everyone
Yeah,
too, for
yeah.
my friends.
Mm.
But that's a thing. Like you see some photographers that are doing IPS, they're also doing their own framing, their own mounting, their own printing. and I love it. I love seeing that.
Yeah. So the moral of the story is your transaction, or rather the experience is not finished until your clients have product. Okay. I know that we were very much on the other side of that coin before we brought on our design team, but seeing how happy our clients are at the end of the day, it's not, forget the dollar signs for a moment. All right. Like the joy that our clients have because they've been served completely through the finish line, right? It speaks volumes, and it's that's where you get brand evangelists from. Okay, that's how you get your brand ambassadors from. Okay, these clients who are gonna just shout your name from the rooftops because you gave them such an exceptional experience. Yeah. Anything to add to that?
No. Perfection.
Yep.
We're good.
Good.
Thank you, Gricel, for joining us.
Thank you.
Where can our audience members find you?
So I am found on Instagram at Gricel's Photography. My website is www.gricelsphotography.com. And I believe I have a Facebook.
Oh, don't forget it.
I
We're good there.
I don't know.
You're
Somewhere.
good with IG.
Yeah, Instagram is the way to go.
That's right.
And I do some TikTok every once in a while.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I'm trying, guys. I hit the TikTok, and it's Gricel's Photography as well. It's tough doing that one.
Oh my God, yeah. Just
Yeah, it's
copy
tough.
paste from Instagram.
Did we talk about tea? I guess it was big.
That
steak.
was
the tea.
everything.
That was the tea.
We're done. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
No, I
don't
think
wanna
Ro
wrap up
has some tea. Tell us.
I know.
Okay,
have tea.
okay.
We'll share it over the
I've been
voices.
too busy playing video games.
Correct.
All right.
He's
I have no
disconnected
idea
from
what
life.
day it is. I don't know.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us on another episode of Focused AF. You can find us on Instagram at focused.af and online on our website at focused-af.com.
And you will soon find us on YouTube.
Yes. Once Ro's done playing video games, you will find us on YouTube.
Yes.
We do have an account.
We
Yes.
do
We
have an
a YouTube
account.
Follow.
And also,
Empty.
if you got tea,
Subscribe.
you got some stuff you want to bring onto the show, even voicemails. We'll check those out too. You can email that at hello@focused-af.com.
I
Awesome.
have a Gmail account.
Oh, we
Yeah,
don't know.
but that's just for the YouTube.
Yeah.
We're not sharing that.
Two
We're not
different
sharing that.
emails.
All right.
Just hello.
Stay focused. Are you? Ro is not focused yet.
No.
All right. But the rest of you, are you guys focused yet?
We are.
Yes,
We
yes.
are. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We'll see you guys on the next one.
All
Adios.
right. Adios.
Focused AF is a fun, business-focused podcast for wedding creatives.
Co-hosted by award-winning husband and wife wedding photography teams Ben and Karis.
And Jen and Ro, where we help fellow wedding creatives with their sales and marketing.
With laid-back conversations and real talk with some of our most favorite people in the universe.
And with that being said, are you focused AF?
I am focused AF today.
We are Focused AF.
I think I might be Focused AF.
Welcome to the Focused AF podcast.